Hi, folks, and welcome to the Kicking Out of Kayfabe podcast. I'm your host, Colin. Thank you very much for joining me here again today. On this show, I have the honour and privilege of sitting down and chatting with the one and only Foxy. Foxy is an absolute legend in the business. He is by far the best that this country has to offer. He is arguably probably the best referee in Europe and could, in my opinion, be mixing it on a much bigger stage. And I think it's only a matter of time before he gets there. On this show, we speak about his beginnings as a wrestler, how he transitioned from a wrestler into a referee. We touch on how he's a bit disheartened that he no longer wrestles, which is completely understandable, and how he's just too valuable to be given a match. But we all want that match. We all want to see that match. But we touch on that in this show here today. We also get into some fun stuff like the bumps that he has taken, and especially the last few that we've seen, the dive in Belfast after taking everybody out was phenomenal, and how he didn't tell Joe about that before it happened. I think we all would have loved to see Joe's face as that happened, but Foxy tells us the story here today. This is a very good episode. I could have spoken to Foxy for 12 hours, but I had to draw the line somewhere. I had to end it after about 90 minutes, 2 hours. I hope to get Foxy on again and go through a lot of the stuff that I didn't get to ask. So let's just, for argument's sake, call this part one of God knows how many we're going to do further down the road. But here he is, the one and only Niall Fox. Enjoy. Hi, folks. Welcome to the Kicking Out of Kayfabe podcast. I'm your host, Colin. Thank you very much for joining me here today. Today, I have the honour of being joined by the living legend, Niall Foxy Fox. How are you, Foxy?
Ah, I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much for being here today. I did say living legend. You are a living legend. Um, it's ridiculous how over you are in the community and how much of an attraction you are within yourself. It's This is a big gift for me. It really is to have you on the show. But
Thank you.
how's lockdown? We're still in lockdown. We're coming out the back end of it. How are you coping at the moment?
Fed up. Fed up.
As we all
Um,
are.
yes, as everyone is. Yeah, I'm fed up. I'm just trying to keep myself busy any way I can. I'm I'm not I'm not going out. Like it's very minimal when I go outside my house. So it's literally for shopping and then I'm back in the house. So boredom is a killer.
That's the exact same as myself. I'm not going out unless I really have to.
Mm.
I live with two people who are both still going to work, so I'm around them. So the less that I can be out then as well prevents the risk and stuff. So I just don't see that it's worth it. But yeah, I get exactly where you're coming from. The boredom is a killer.
Mm.
Um, and like people say, oh, you have a PlayStation or you have this or you have Netflix, and there's only so much of that you can do. Like,
Exactly, especially being in the house for weeks on end.
yeah, everything just becomes the same dreary. Like, oh, I don't want that. I don't want to do this. Yeah, I feel you. But anyway, we're here to talk about wrestling, and we're here to
Yes.
talk about you. So, can you tell me how did you get into wrestling?
I I got into wrestling through Terry Tasher. Uh, Originally, I had seen an advertisement for an Irish Whip Wrestling for their training facility back in 2005, and during 2005, Terry Thatcher brought me down to the facility just to introduce me to the people, and hopefully get started. But the minimum age was 16, so I had to wait. So I waited till 16, started literally like a few days after I turned 16. Uh, my first trainers there were was Alexander Dean, Bam Catraz, Ballymun Bruiser, and almost like a revolving door because it wasn't consistent until a few months in.
Mhm.
then it just dwindled down to 3 people being the trainers at Irish Whip, which were Bam Catraz, Ballymun Bruiser, and Bingo Balance. A lot of bees involved, but yeah, like it was good. Like that's how I got into it. I started my training. Uh, made my made my debut as a wrestler 3.5 months in, which is very
Very
quick,
quick, yeah.
very quick. A bit too quick for my liking, but the trainers had confidence in me to go out there and just chuck me into a match. As you do, you throw me to the wolves. You get battered your first match in, and mine was no different. My first match was a tag team match. It was myself and Steve Mulligan against Vic Viper and another trainee who went by the name of Duke Griffin. He was a really tall biker looking dude. So, and uh, they proceeded to beat the living hell out of me for a good 10 minutes.
Did it feel like 10 minutes?
It was 10 minutes. The match went on for, it was supposed to be 12 to 15, but the majority of it was just me getting beat up. So yeah, as expected on your first match.
Yeah, so
But
you were the bump monkey.
pretty much because I was a small, skinny kid with long hair that could do flips. So
Hmm.
yeah, what else
Yeah,
is there to do?
Terry was on. I think he said the same thing. Like the stature that he had, just kind of, yeah, you go in there and just get thrown around the ring. Yeah. So how do you think the match went? Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it at the time, and then looking back on it, I still enjoyed it, even with my near death experience during it. So yeah.
Okay.
So during, I'll explain it.
Hmm.
So basically, uh, Drew Griffin. Now I'm 5 foot. I want to say 5'5", and Drew Griffin is at least 6'10". Don't know, he's very tall, but both of us being newbies, but I'm so thin
Hmm.
and so light. He picks me up for a suplex and he wants to stall me up there. But because I'm so light, I have so much momentum, I land on my feet before he falls. So therefore, he still has a hold of me, and I fall like a pancake, like an accordion, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, not nice.
Yeah.
People thought I was dead.
It sounds like a bad one, all right. But you were okay,
I'm still here, aren't I?
thankfully. Reality check.
Yes, but thankfully, I was lucky. Lucky I was flexible at the time. So not so much now, but back
So
then I was.
obviously, a lot of people probably don't know that you were a wrestler and that you're trained as a wrestler. So how long were you actually a wrestler for? How long were you actually competing in ring for?
As a wrestler, I was competing as a wrestler for the good part of 4 years.
Hmm.
Uh, 4 years straight, nearly. Like I would take breaks in between
Hmm.
because I was still in school and then I was doing college. So I try and dip in and out of wrestling. But about 4 years as a wrestler, then I started to make my transition as a referee because while I wrestled, I used a mask.
Hmm.
So therefore, it was handy for promoters to get me in and, all right, we'll let you wrestle a match, but you need to ref the second half. So doing
Okay.
double duty on the shows, which was handy. It was a good learning experience. But eventually got to the point where the matches were getting less and less, and refereeing became the the main point that I was getting booked for. So
And
so I was like,
who were you working for at this time then as well? Was it still Irish Whip?
no. I stayed with Irish Whip till I want to say mid to late 2006.
Mhm.
Then took my break because I was heading back to school. When I came back here and there for a little bit, and then I was involved in their last gym show, which was in their training facility. Um, that was 2008. Then took a longer gap because I was doing college, and the next time I tried to dip my toes into wrestling was about 2010, and I had a brief stint in Fight Factory when they were stationed out in Bray.
Mhm.
Had 2 matches out there. Then later in 2010 was uh, DCW had come about,
Mhm.
so they were looking for people, and it was handy for me because I was under a mask, I was local, and yeah, like they could again double duty, you know, so they started me
Yeah.
out as refereeing as well. So that was when I became consistently like involved in wrestling since 2010. In during DCW, I also got involved in main stage wrestling in order to get myself back into shape and to just try and improve myself a lot better than I thought it was, which I'm still nowhere near where I wanted to be.
And were you
But
working for both at the same time? Were you working for
yes,
DCW and Main Stage?
yes, I was working for both. Like during the time, like a lot of people were kind of
Yep.
forced to pick sides. But I had made it clear to both that look, I I want to work for both these, and then I will continue to work for both.
Mhm.
I'm not showing loyalty to either.
Yeah.
It, then best not pick sides.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
was just
good.
asking because from what I've heard, it was a lot of thing like that. You had to either work for one or the other,
Mm.
which is why I got onto that. So obviously DCW didn't last too long,
No,
less than a year, I think.
just under a year. Yeah, it was getting there. Like they were aiming for their. They started September and they finished. I think it was July, maybe, or June, July, thereabouts. And but from then on, I stayed with main stage. Thankfully, like because I was so upfront about it,
Mhm.
that there was no hard feelings. I was still training the main stage while I was working with DCW, so it was no real change there. But from then on, I was just with main stage. Main stage was my home from then on. Um, done. I was lucky enough to do an NLW show. Then around that time, about 2012. Uh, then stuck with main stage. Then, as I said, the wrestling started dwindling down. Did a couple more matches in 2013, and then I started doing more ref work when I got involved with Wrestling.ie.
Mhm.
Wrestling.ie I worked with for 3 years straight, and that was constantly like traveling each and every weekend to different towns all across Ireland. You got It was such a learning experience because you got to work with a different crew or probably the same crew nearly every time, and you're going to different towns, different crowds, learn how people worked, how they did how they wrestled, as well as learn how to gauge a crowd,
Mhm.
do other jobs, whether it be like merchandise or otherwise. So I credit that as a major like learning tool for anyone on the scene. Like get onto .e, do as many as you can
Mhm.
because you the experience is there's you can't put a price on like the experience that gives you.
Would you find it more difficult working for .ie just because it's family friendly? So it's a
Mm.
family friendly show. So obviously, in comparison to, I know this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but comparison to like the likes of an OTT crowd or a Phoenix crowd, um, like a really hot, hardcore fan set. Did you find wrestling.ie was that a little bit harder to work and get the crowd up and into it?
Um, yes and no. For me, like part of the experience is learning what works for different crowds.
Hmm.
Because if you're playing to the same crowd over and over again, yes, they'll get very familiar with what you do. So therefore they become bored and then they're not up for everything that you do. Whereas like when you go with .ie, you're working different crowds, different mentalities, different mindsets. So therefore, like, all right, what works in say Kerry won't work in a Belfast, and what works in a Belfast will not work in a Cork. So it drastically, and doing little festival shows as well. It you're working multiple matches over the course of a day to any fair goers or like festival goers. So yeah, it's definitely a learning experience. And for the likes of it, whether be for being a kid shows are fun. Kid
Yeah.
shows are super fun. Like yes, like we don't like it if kids are hitting us, yes, but unfortunately that comes with the territory. That you kind of have to get used to that. Whereas like adult shows over 18s, they are a lot of fun
Hmm.
because you're not as restricted, but at the same time you are. Like there's certain subjects that you can't approach even to an over 18s. It's
Hmm.
just not. Like looking back at early OTTs like stuff, some of the things that was going on there that we got away with would not fly now.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I think that's the same with everything, though. You look at the landscape. People are putting it up on social media all the time. You see stuff from the Attitude Era in WWE, even, and they're like, "How did they get away with that?" I think it's just the landscape at the time and the stuff that you can kind of get away with. And I'm sure that we'll probably be looking back on a lot of stuff that's happening now, maybe in 5, 10 years, and say, "How did they get away with that there?" But yeah. So can you tell me then, when did you then make the full transition to stop in ring performing into the referee role, the full time referee role?
Uh, the my last match, like proper wrestling match, was about 2015, and that was for Wrestling.e. My last match was actually against Joker Bray. So like that should kind of tell you. It's like yeah, but that was my last wrestling match. But before that, like my matches were very few and far between. Like
Hmm.
it was almost like years between matches, which is not the way it should be. That
Yeah.
you either you train and you wrestle consistently, or you don't wrestle at all. But when when I was doing wrestling.e, I was constantly doing referee work. So
Hmm.
therefore, like that's what I was getting booked for. So therefore, I put all my time and effort into learning to be better.
Yeah.
And thankfully, like that experience helped me. So come the time around 2014 when OTT is starting up, I had been working with Joe Cabray on the .e shows or other shows in between, and he wanted me in straight away. So he, as far as I know, I was the first and only person he had in mind for it because he knew I had been training to be a ref for years, essentially.
Yeah. And did Joe have a chat with you about this? Like, did Joe pull you aside and say, like, "I want you to be my guy"?
No, no, it was literally just, uh, can you do the show? It's like, yeah, it's over 18s. Yes, I'm doing it. But like, obviously, the way I approach it was that obviously I'm doing something right because he's asking me back
Hmm.
for each show, and plus it was handy because I'm very local. So the the first OTT shows were in the Tivoli Theatre, so it's literally a bus journey for me, and I'm there. But not only that, like I was willing to do whatever was needed, and I still am, whatever is needed to help the show any way I can.
So
So
did you feel aggrieved at all that you weren't being booked as a wrestler?
yes, it's one of those things that I've I do think on it a lot,
Hmm.
and some days I'm completely content being a ref. I completely like content. Whereas like other days I wake up like, God damn it, what if I just done a little more, like put more effort in, then I could be here, or I could have done this, or I could have got to work this, or do something cool. So it's a very mixed bag for that. Um, like I I loved wrestling.
Hmm.
Still would love to wrestle like the odd match here and there. Then kind of give me like the Undertaker spot. I just come in every so often and do it. do something. But yeah, but I'm at a point where, not even like from me saying it, it's like from other people. It's like you're too good as a ref
Mhm.
to be risking to wrestle, which is, uh, it's it's good and it's not at the same time.
Yeah, well, that's just what I was about to say. That obviously you're the best ref we have in this country. You are arguably one of the best refs in Europe, if not, like you could easily be working for a WWE or a New Japan or an AEW. And I think like that's why I was asking where you aggrieved, because I think you're that good as a referee that obviously the wrestling has to take a backseat to that, and
Mm.
you've worked at it so well and built yourself up to be the best that this country has to offer.
Like with the, like not only with working as a referee, it was the fact that like I didn't learn from anyone else. It was really like the boys that I was working with, boys and girls that I was working with, because you had to learn on the job.
Yeah.
So whereas like I didn't have, I wasn't as fortunate as people as say a wrestler,
Mhm.
where like every month we have we have people coming over, or we have a special import that comes over, and then lads and girls can pick the brain, and like, how do I wrestle better? How do I do this? How do I, it was like psychology, or how do I do this? Whereas like me, it's just how was how was it? Then oh, you're good. That's it. Then it's nothing. Then I like it's not really something that I can actually delve into and improve. Whereas fortunately, with OTT bringing over, say, the likes of a Joel Allen or a Chris Sharp from WWE NXT UK,
Mhm.
that was that was a major difference for me, because finally I had someone that I could pick the brain of and actually say, how would you deal with this situation, or what would happen if this, or how can I improve doing this, and what is like said companies looking for.
Okay.
But yeah, like it's, yeah, like it's very rare for me to have someone to kind of like pick the brain of and get better. Like, take him into the fact that there's very few referees in the country.
Mhm.
As far as I know, there is only, say, four in the country, and like two have started, are only starting now. One is dipping his toe in and out. Then he's been around a while, but like he's been dipping his toe in and out, and and I think there may be another one trying to get a start as well. But the, the, in terms of experience wise, like I've been a referee for 10 years now, and it don't get me wrong, you can learn from other people, but it's nice to learn from someone that's far better than you, to like
Yeah.
really like find out where your flaws are.
Well, I think it's a testament to you though that you have excelled yourself, as you said, without the tutelage of anybody as well. So I think I don't think you should be downplaying how big of an achievement that is for you as well, to learn the craft without having those bigger names that you had to bounce off, and that you made a name for yourself. So obviously,
Sure.
everyone knows you're from OTT.
Yes.
So what other promotions you've mentioned? That you work for Wrestling.ie. But what other promotions do you work for then on a regular or
So,
semi-regular basis?
oh, on a regular basis, then apart from OTT, it would be NLW,
Hmm.
which is based out in Nace, Phoenix Wrestling in Cork. Uh, I have dealt with Respect up north. Uh, there's some, there is some good people like up there. As much as like there's a lot of trouble up north, there is good people up there,
Hmm.
and I do see a major potential like for being major assets for the country
Yeah.
in as a whole. But
They need the right
yeah, so
people in place though,
yes,
and they need a lot of
yes,
the. What I don't want to delve into it because that's
no,
not
no,
like
no, it's not.
that's been spoken about on other podcasts. But there's a lot
Yeah,
of shit going on up there, that needs to be eradicated from that scene before they can move forward.
yeah, I'm not dwelling on it, but like apart from that, like it's a few bad apples,
Yeah.
but it's like genuinely like with respect, there's so many like good people up there that want to learn and want to get better. It's just that they don't have the right people to guide them. But apart from respect, NLW, Phoenix, OTT, um, they're the four main ones that. Oh, Fight Factory as well. Sorry, my apologies. Fight Factory, I've started working with on the regular now, and I love it because it gives me a chance to work with the more younger talent and help them along. Because as a referee, not only I'm not only there to count the tree, as a lot of people know.
Yeah.
It's I'm there to help if things go wrong, people get hurt, or if people get lost. It especially for younger new people that are trying probably in the first handful of matches, they probably forgot the spot. They probably forgot like, oh, what's happening next. It's so I just help them in relaying messages about getting this done. So
And
that's what I like.
have you ever traveled outside the country to
I
work?
was fortunate enough last year. I got my first UK bookings in Sheffield for a promotion called Breed Pro Wrestling,
Cool.
and did two more. I did two shows over there, and they haven't asked me back since. No, but like that's yeah. I had fun when I did it. I was loving it because my first UK booking outside of Ireland. I loved it. Definitely would love to do more with them or just work in other places in general.
Mhm. There's a lot of big good promotions as well in the UK, and I'm sure like doors will obviously open, because as I said, you're the best that we have. Have you ever had a tryout, or has a tryout ever been muted to you from any of the kind of the bigger boys on the scene?
No, no, like I haven't had a tryout. I haven't even been whispered about the possibility of one. Then I maybe then if I'm fortunate enough to work with the likes of people involved in companies like Chris Sharp or Joel Allen
Mhm.
or things of that nature, and they think I'm good enough for it, great. But at the moment, I'm just going to keep working as much as I can, anywhere I can, and just yeah, stay on top of everything, hopefully, and get better.
Is the goal to do it full time?
Yes, realistically, yes.
Cool. So if we step out of the ring for a second, um, what other hobbies do you have then outside of wrestling?
Well, obviously, like some people know about, but like I make pixel art artwork for my side business, Foxy Bros Retailer. It's but I do that. I started that as a hobby back in 2013, and it's something that's kind of kept me sane, especially during this time, because it's forced me to be more creative in the original pieces I do. Apart from that, I'm a comic guy. I'm a movie guy. I like talking about comics. Like talking about like superheroes in general, or just anime and other weird nerdy stuff.
DC or Marvel?
As a kid, Marvel. As an adult, DC.
DC Comics for me. When it comes to the films, I think Marvel obviously blow them out of the water.
Yeah,
Um,
Marvel ruled the roost for movies.
yeah, DC
Without doubt.
animation though is phenomenal.
Absolute top notch. They blast that out of the water
Mm.
compared to Marvel.
Marvel Tryouts,
But,
I just think they gave up on it. It's yeah,
and I don't get it. That's one of the things I don't get is the fact that like how is DC so good at the animated side, but shit, like
You're
so
alright.
so yeah, or so bad at the live action.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marvel is the same in reverse. I don't get it.
I think they tried to go too big too quick. DC. I think they
Yes,
tried to because Marvel were already there. They tried to catch up with Marvel. So I think
in
they rushed Justice League up to that point. They didn't build the story arcs and yeah.
instead of
Um,
doing the slow, taking Marvel's approach and doing the
yeah.
slow and build up.
Obviously they're saying billions that are being posted and they're like, oh, let's get Justice League. But
We want the money.
that's it. But yeah, your pixel art or your perler beads, I think you call them,
Yes.
phenomenal, absolutely amazing. I've completely stalked your Instagram. Um, I did my research. Um,
There you go.
yeah, but no, I stalked your Instagram, and it's the stuff is phenomenal. And I see you posting it as well, because I do follow you on Instagram. But yeah, some of that stuff is amazing, and your pieces are for sale.
Hmm.
It's at the if you're watching on YouTube, it's on the screen there just below Foxy's picture. You can contact them on Instagram, or you can go to his Facebook page, foxybros.retailer, on Facebook if you are interested in any of them. But go check them out because they are amazing. Do you do commissions? If someone's
Yes, I
looking for
do.
something, yeah,
I do commissions. Commissions start at €30 and they depend on size and detail. But definitely, like, shoot me a message and I can work with you anyway. It's no problem.
you go check it out. It's phenomenal work. But you also have a podcast.
Yes, I do indeed. The Foxy Bros podcast basically obviously it's myself, but I tend to talk to a lot of my friends about different topics. And the idea of the podcast is we talk about topics and see where the conversation takes us.
Mhm.
So if we go and rant midway through a topic, that's fine. We may not go back to the topic ever again, but or we might. But that's part of the fun. I want it to be like a fun and natural like conversation.
That's cool.
So,
Completely different to this one, where like I have notes right here, and completely structured. So,
I I've, I want to say a loose structure, a very loose structure. So
so family. Are you married? Do you have a girlfriend?
I have a partner and we have two kids together. So
Okay. On the previous show, we found out who that partner was in very
yeah.
I don't know how to describe how he described it, but
Unflattering details.
yeah, probably. um, but what does said partner think about you doing what you do? What did he think about you being a ref and wrestling?
Well, the strange thing is that we met. I met like her uh and them on the same day, all on the same day.
Okay.
But it was wrestling that actually like really like clinched the friendship.
Mm.
Before we ever even got together, it was like wrestling. So her family is wrestling oriented. They love wrestling. But yeah, she loves it. She's been with me since his, we've been together since 2007, and it's she's there to kind of like ground me when I need to, or like perk me up when I need to, or uh, or cut me down when I'm getting like a bit ahead of myself. But then again, like her brother will do that for me as well. So yeah,
Does she
thanks,
attend?
Thatcher.
Does she attend the shows?
When she can,
Mhm.
not as often as she used to, but like it it's very rare that. But she does like going to them. She really does like going to them and seeing all the boys and girls and talking to them, because she gets on with nearly anyone she goes meets. So
And what about the kids?
the kids are are my eldest is 13 and my youngest is 8, and my eldest is the moody teen, uh, struggling with their emotions and their feelings. So,
We've all been there.
and the my youngest is 8, and he is he's autistic, so but such a good kid. Like I, it's weird because I I can't imagine not having them.
Mm.
I really couldn't like picture what would it be like if I never had kids or never met like my partner. It's like I can't imagine it. So yeah,
Yeah, so it's safe to say that they're your driving force, they're your influence.
yes, yes.
So if we look then into your wrestling stuff and your refereeing career, who would you say your influences are for you getting into the ring? Then, is there anyone who kind of spurs you on, or who you grew up with, who inspired you to do what you do?
Um, obviously, like I'd gotten into the wrestling like through through Thatcher, and the it is because wrestling was big for her family anyway. Like they were into it, so they had no issues with it. They were happy that I was doing it
Mm.
and supportive of it. My mother, then she's happy about it, but at the same time, she's not because she worries that I get hurt.
Yeah, as they do.
Don't sometimes it does happen, but like yeah. But other than that, like what got me into wrestling, kinda- I grew up during the Attitude Era, so like, you had The Rock and Stone Cold, then you had like Jeff, the Hardy Boys, so like small skinny kid that can flip. Yeah, of course I'm gonna take to the Hardy Boys. But my earliest memories are like the likes of Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, and Hulk Hogan. So
So something that I came across in my research was a petition online from it said 4 years ago. So I reckon some stage around 2016. Do you know about this?
I think I know because I'd been made aware about two or three that were kind of started, but yeah.
Well, this one I have here, so I have the quote here. So it's a resident OTT referee Foxy has had a rough time of late. It appears his peripheral vision is knackered and his distance vision is impaired too. With, with WrestleCon not only costing some superstars matches and titles, but also getting knocked out by Chris Hero. It's time Jerry Humperdinck look after the well-being of his ref and bring him to Specsavers before Extreme Super Show at the Tivoli Theatre.
I'd seen that, and I was like, believe me, I was made well aware of this thing going around at the time. But yeah, like what the funny thing was that like I think 2 shows later, I actually walked out with glasses on and ref the first match just to mess with people. It's like, does he really need glasses? I was like, no, no,
If you can blur that line and you can get people asking that question,
yeah,
you know you're doing your job right. Um, but I just got a kick out of that when I saw that when I was doing a bit of research for that. I had to put it in. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. I think I was laughing
oh
for about
yeah.
5 minutes after leaving reading that one. So you've been involved in some huge matches. Like I don't, you haven't just been involved in big matches. Like OTT draws some of the biggest names around the world, and you have been involved in like obviously they get a guest in every now and again. So let's say 97% of them.
Mm.
Um, so what would you say is your big standout match? What has been the biggest match that you have refed, in your opinion?
That's tough.
Is there
That is
one?
very. That's a very tough one because like there's so many like really big matches, especially if
Mhm.
you look at the history of OTT about like the significance for the time, not only the time of it, but the storyline or different factors go into it. Like I've made no secret about it. Like the biggest match for me, uh, like there's a couple of matches, but like the main one that gave me a major emotional like feeling for it. It was Thatcher winning the NLW title at Contenders. That was it. Like that was my to me that was my most important match. But obviously, like it's nothing to scoff at for like Devon versus Star, the one of the previous
Do you
events.
think it was
Whereas
more personal to you because you and Terry are probably that bit closer?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, because our careers kind of intertwine a lot, and it's just it was great to see him be acknowledged in that way.
Yeah. I
So
think when I spoke to Terry, me and Terry touched on this as well in I think it's 2 episodes ago. Um, but he did say that standard Joker Bray, you only find out on the day, and going into that day, if you had have asked anyone, everyone said Scotty.
yeah,
No one
we
expected it to be him.
we were fully convinced that it was gonna be Scotty, and even with the we were we were just thinking about it, like it's contenders, like the concept for the show. It's like it's bring young talent up, and instantly we're just like Scotty's been built. He's definitely like fits the bill. But then obviously like on the day we find out it's not going to be that. And talking to Thatcher about it, it's like we think that it was the promo beforehand that really like convinced Joe to say, let's pull the trigger on Thatcher. Let's go with this.
Do you think that if Thatcher didn't win that day, do you think that could have been coming towards the end of Thatcher and OTT then? The way that Terry kind of put it across to me, now we never said that, but what he did say was that if he didn't pull the trigger on him then, he probably would have never pulled the trigger on him. And I think without that win and without that run, I don't think we probably would have gotten the other pushes that he's gotten with the likes of the Haskins feud and stuff. And where he is now, I think we spoke that he's gone 5 matches unbeaten now in his current run. So do you think that that was a big catalyst towards where he then went afterwards?
I think now obviously it made sense for the because in the lead up to that you had the match that really like turned people onto like Thatcher, like for people that kind of woke up and said, "Oh, we we actually really like this guy. Don't know, we think he's really good." Was his match with Jonah Rock.
Hmm.
Like that really like opened people's eyes. Like this guy's good, and to the it's true to it's because he takes a beating so well.
Yeah,
Dunno,
that's what I was
which
going to say. He took a hell of a beating.
yeah, which seems to be like the recurring theme for his like his career. Dunno, he just gets beat up and people just like feel sorry for
He's gonna love me for that.
him. Oh yeah, yeah, El Recito. But no, like I do think that the promo was really like what convinced Joe Cabral to say, okay, look, we can come back to Sky. He's young. He's gonna and if he keeps going the way he's going, it's a no brainer to have him get later down the line.
Hmm.
So, as you're saying, he's now the NLW champion. And it's better for him now. Like he's ready for it.
Yeah.
You couldn't see anyone else being able to carry it and have it mean something,
Hmm.
as opposed to what was with a previous like kind of holder of it. So where it wasn't the belt hadn't appeared for months on end. But with Thatcher though, like I think it was also a big thing because he he done what I think it was 14 years. So
Hmm.
it was his 14th year, and finally, like, he had something he could really like. Everything just came together. Like he had his character, he was able to do promos, like, and his in ring work had gotten to up to that next level kind of thing. So it, it could have been many factors, but I doubt it was gonna be like the last we would have seen of Thatcher.
Hmm.
It might have come later.
Yeah,
We don't know, but to be honest, like I'm happy that it happened when it happened. So,
I think he has another few runs in him as well.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, can you talk to me then about a typical show day? So, what's your role then on a standard show day? Obviously, you have loads to do, and this is why I want to get into it because I don't know how you do it. I honestly don't. You have a a 6, 7, 8, 9 match card, whatever it may be.
Yeah,
What so
1500, whatever.
so what's your standard show day then?
So the standard show day would basically be now. Thankfully, like with OTT, we top notch crew. Like all the trainees that are like, uh, excuse me, up and coming. They're there very early in the day. They're setting up. Um, uh, like he's gonna hate me as I say, but Joe like usually says like, show up around here around this time. Don't come near us. Don't know basically. so so basically he doesn't want me handling the ring, but no, it's when I show up, say hello to everyone, find out the match order, and then I wait. I have to wait till later because usually by the time I find out the match order, people are going through their matches or they're
Hmm.
probably discussing it or people haven't arrived yet. So therefore, like it's better off just waiting till they're ready. And then so it means that I'm sitting down. I'm probably catching up with friends. Like uh, but as it gets close to showtime, then the stress starts to come in because I'm left. I can catch a lot of people for like find out what's needed, but there's always at least one or two matches that I have to chase throughout the venue
Okay.
to find them because they just disappear.
Hmm.
So therefore, it's stress on me, especially if they're in the first half. The trick that I use is that I just memorize the first half. Then during intermission, that's when I find out the second half. But I find that it helps me so much better than having to learn every single match. But uh, when I find out like what's needed, I also like have to make sure that nothing ends the same. In terms of like, oh, we may have a roll up for a finish in the opener.
Hmm.
That means that like I have to make sure that no other match has a roll up in the first half.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's a lot of the same.
Hmm.
But everything else really like happen. I may help younger lads like with ideas for matches. It's like, what if you did this instead, or what if you tweak this, or to the do something subtle with like your motion. It just little things, but nothing major. Like it's generally left up to the people involved. I'm just there to help out where I can and if I'm needed. Um, then show day, it's literally as you see at shows. I'm out there all night almost. I bring out a bottle of water or have one hidden there,
Hmm.
and I almost inhale it come just before main event, or I'm lying flat on the canvas like before the main event. So one or the other. But
Are you and you're not being fed anything while you're out there? You're not being fed any information from like you're
yeah,
not wearing earpiece
no,
or anything.
I'm not wearing an earpiece. It's something that I've wanted to do because it's definitely required for the likes of it. Any promotion that does a TV or otherwise.
Hmm.
It's definitely something I want to train on.
Yeah.
But other than that, if anything major needs to be relayed to me, it's usually done by probably one of the runners
Hmm.
for the show, like one of the trainees.
Yeah.
They'll probably relay messages here down the back, or it could be for Butch it's himself.
Yeah. And you obviously have to keep track of the likes of time and stuff as well, which I'm presuming it's not just you, it's probably Butch as well, is it? Or is that
No,
not,
it's
it's
me.
just all you. So
Yeah.
you have the timings down to a T then as well while
No,
you're
I
in it.
don't. No, I don't.
I was waiting for that.
I would like to say I do, but no, like some people like don't listen or just ignore
Yeah.
me or
So what happened with
uh
Cody?
um uh as some people say like okay, like for Cody he was allocated I think it was 15 minutes he was allocated, and during the match normally what I would do I'd at least give 3-minute warning or 2-minute warning, depending on what's needed for the finish of a match.
Just this is 15 minutes bell to bell.
Yes,
Yeah.
bell to bell, 15. And being a triple threat, they're gonna go long. So depending on how the crowd reacts to the match, usually decides if I now. Thankfully, like Joe gives me the leeway and he trusts that like I make the right calls. So therefore he has no problem if I said, look, the crowd were into it. I gave them the extra minute or two to finish it off. Or if a crowd is really dead, I'm telling them it's like, come on, let's start bringing it home or let's move on. But for the Cody match, it was essentially coming up to the 15-minute mark. It was 14 minutes gone, and I'm telling them, right, let's start going into the finish. So he hears me, ignores me. I ask him again. It's like, look, come on, go into it now. Right now we're at the 14-minute mark. It's like literally like down to the wire. It's like 1 minute left. Come on, go into the finish. So I said it 3 times. He still ignored me. Went on, did his thing, finished the match, and then yeah, and then he did his tried to do his promo later. But other than that, like it's really just like all it was is that I asked him to actually follow the time. That's all. So it was nothing major.
And
It's pretty
did
much
he hold his hands up then after the match? Like he's
no,
done it now. He didn't hold his
no,
hands up after the match.
no.
So who did that come down on? Did that come down on you?
So no, like for that now, that was one of those things where I I didn't find out about stuff until the next day, which was really annoying for me. But look, as a professional, I do my job. That's what a professional is supposed to do. If you have a problem, say it to people's faces. Otherwise, like it's animosity. That's unneeded, especially in wrestling. But yeah, like I actually have no problems with him. I didn't because up until like the match, it was super nice. So it was easy to talk to. So uh, I usually judge people based on how they treat me. So if I interact with you and the interaction is grand, then no issues. But if you're out there in the match, I don't mind as long as you're playing ball. Uh, Whereas some people don't. Like Naito is one of those. So yeah, but
Are you referring to the 4th anniversary show?
I am indeed.
Okay. That was something that I actually did want to bring up. That obviously wasn't spoken about beforehand.
No.
Yeah, I presume there was a lot of pissed off people after that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I only watched that show on the watch along recently, so I wasn't actually aware of it. And when I was watching it again, as a fan watching that, I'm questioning: is this meant to be happening? Has this been agreed upon? What's going on here? And again, like I didn't know if like it was meant to be happening and or if it wasn't. And then when you see him being asked for the mask like 5 times, and it's like
Yeah.
he's still not giving it back and stuff, it's like okay, maybe it is leaning this way.
The killer for that one was that nothing. All I knew was the finish. That was it. Now, what realistically should have happened was I should have been told that this is happening as well. So just if you see this happening, then this is like don't worry about it. But none of it was talked about. I didn't know, so therefore, like that's why there's a big delay in me trying to get the mask back because if I'd known that it was legitimate, I would have taken the mask
Yeah.
because it's not right. You don't do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think a lot of people are pissed off after that, and I saw a lot of people tweeting about it as well at the time. As I said, I was on the watch along, and a few people did tweet about it as well, which kind of clued me in to kind of what was going down there. But like I was looking at it, kind of going, "Oh, that's not right." But again, like he's yeah, we won't get into talking about like who he thinks he is. Anyway, so you've Niall, you mentioned him. He is one of the biggest stars in the world.
Yes.
Whether he pulled a dick move or he didn't. But you've worked with not just him. You've worked with, as we said, Cody, the Bucks, Kenny, some of the biggest stars in the world. You missed out on Moxley, big shame. But what's that like? Like, are you in there kind of going, holy shit, I'm in here with such and such?
Like for me, like I've only had that really happen. So two people really I still maintain are the only two that legitimately like intimidate me. One is Minoru Suzuki.
Hmm.
It's like just when he goes out there, it's a different monster. Like it's just, well, I'm actually afraid of you. Gonna stay away. Please stay away. Please stay away. But the other I would call Finn Balor. Finn Balor, like as a heel, is scary
Hmm.
because he's just on another level. It's scary that a guy from Bray is very timid and then usually very friendly
Hmm.
to just boom, then God damn, I need to move. I need to run. Like they're the only two that have made me legitimately like intimidated. Whereas like for holy crap moments, it's like Jushin Liger. Jushin Liger is one of those kind of moments. Mick Foley. Mick Foley was one of those that I was really looking forward to. And normally for me, I enjoy. I don't want to bother people, so therefore, like I don't get photos with them as much as I'd love to.
Hmm.
Then I usually get my photo from a shot from the match itself.
Hmm.
That's how I get it, and just I have it myself. But Foley was one of the only people that I was like, I'd love to get a photo of him. I would love to. And anything that was in ring, I wasn't there. So I was just like, I don't even have that photo. Whereas like other people, like they have their photo. They probably got a photo in backstage or something. And it's
Yeah.
like, ah. But yeah, like they be the moments that are like, holy crap. Dunno.
I spoke to Frankie, and myself and Frankie, we spoke about the likes of doing ring crew and stuff. And again, you came up in conversation while I was speaking to Frankie. And Frankie, as you know, he's been around stop start for 10 plus years.
Mm.
He's been with OTT since its inception. Again, a little bit of stop start with the wrestling aspect, but he's worked crew since its inception. And I was asking him what it was like to like kind of work ringside and kind of put the ring up and stuff like that. Do you find that it's paying your dues? And he said, not anymore. Now what he looks at it like is the best seat in the house. And then he backtracked and he said, no, it's not the best seat in the house. It's the second best seat in the house because Foxy has the best seat in the house. Do you feel that at all?
Yeah, I like I do feel that because like you really are like in the best seat in the house because you're up close and personal with it. You're part of the process of to the you're part of this of what makes people want to like that make them love wrestling, like make them want to come back from the next show or the next match. It's like you're part of that process. Like, as much as like it normally I don't it it's really like the people involved in the match that they're the ones that make you want to come back. But like a lot of people have given out to me in the past and said, no, it's you as well. So now I just say it's like, yeah, I have the best seat in the house
Hmm.
and I'm part of it in a small way. There you go.
A big way. And you can take that from me. Have you ever been caught in the moment? Like, have you ever been just watching what's been going on and kind of had to snap yourself out of it saying, oh shit, I need to be in this?
Yes, when we got Will Ospreay against Ricochet, because it was such a spectacle.
Yeah.
Because of what they could do. It's one of those where I'm literally in the corner. I'm like, what's going on? God damn. Oh my God. Oh, that was cool. Oh wait. I'm actually in the ring. Oh, let's get going. Sorry. Get out of the corner. 1, 2. So, yeah, like that'd be the biggest moment. It's like, oh, then I kind of have to pinch myself. It's like, oh, yeah, this is real. Yeah, we're going.
Yeah, your reactions in the ring as well tell a lot to what's going on, and obviously that's an art in itself that you have perfected over a number of years. Is your reaction and engagement in the ring with what's going on, and I think that when I say that you have a big part to play, that shows me like, oh, Foxy's well into this now as well, and it kind of brings the fans into it then a bit more by you reacting to what's going on as well. Um, but you have been involved in a lot of feuds as well, and in a pretty big way. One of them is the Walter Devlin Star feud that you have had. You're a huge catalyst in it, and some of the stuff that went on in matches. Um, how does that kind of stuff come about? Are you asked to do certain kind of roles in a match scenario? Is that kind of ran by you in the run up to a match?
For the likes of the certain matches there, uh, sometimes it's a case where, right, we have an idea, we're wondering if you'd be up for it, and me being an idiot, I'm just like, yeah, I'll do it. Then I really think about it. I was like, oh, am I actually gonna remember? Like, it's a long show. Like, am I gonna remember by that time?
Hmm.
But most of the time, it tends to be just like, okay, then it whatever. As I said earlier, I'm willing to do anything and everything really to help out the show however I can. So if it means being involved in the main event in certain capacity, like
Hmm.
whether like it means I have to take a bump or otherwise, then as long as it makes sense for the story that they're telling,
Mm.
then by all means, um, I've enjoyed it. I love that I love the fact that they trust me enough to be there on time, to be like in the position, and not only that, but make them look for the likes of Walter, like make him look even more menacing
Hmm.
in the process. I mean, I watched back recently the clips of me getting, first of all, getting the boo in Belfast, uh, go down like a sack of bricks, and then seeing the John Woo into the corner, it's like, yeah, that one hurt. But yeah, like I was just like, that's crazy. Don't know. And as far as I recall, that was him. He wanted he wanted me to do that. He's like, you up for it? He's like, yeah. Uh, what do you need?
Yeah.
So yeah, but like I love doing it. I'm happy to do it when it's needed. Sometimes the it's unfortunate that when I'm asked to do things, it there does be like a dry spell of me being involved. So therefore, like with length of time, I'm not doing anything.
Hmm.
And then on one show, everyone just decides like, what we get Foxy in, what we get, we'll do this. And it's like you couldn't have doing this like in the course of the last few months, like few shows. Like then it would have been fine. Now I have like 50 like different like routines that I have to do. But
The
no, I love doing it.
business idea, man. You need to start charging for spots. Three spot limit per show.
Who's first?
But you spoke about a few of the spots there, and on a more fun side, you've done a lot of great stuff in the ring. And as I said, you're a character in yourself, and you make the show for the fans. But especially of late, now it's not to say that you haven't done a lot of fun stuff in the past, but as I spoke to you about before we came on, and as people who watch the show know, I only got into OTT and Irish wrestling in the last year. So
Mhm.
anything that I've seen has just been on social media and stuff. But been at the shows, specifically more recently. So you've done a flip at the KFRC at Kings, Monsters and Bastards with the Flip Bros, which I don't think anyone was expecting Foxy to do a flip, and it was amazing. Like it was great to be in the crowd for that. And then at Dead On, you cleaned out Paddy, Martina, Captain, and Nikki with an R, and you did a suicide dive to the outside, which I think took everyone by surprise. Can you tell me about those two moments because they were phenomenal?
So the flip KFRC that was purely like on the spot in the
Yeah,
moment. Uh, and it always like guaranteed like as soon as someone does a flip, you're gonna get someone in the crowd's like, do a flip. They do a flip, and then there's this big long pause, and then someone then says it. It's like Foxy do a flip.
did you know it was coming?
No,
You didn't.
as soon I did no like if because it's in the moment, it's like, oh no. Because I've been doing it long enough, I'm just like, oh no, I know where this is going. If they're doing a flip off, then that means that like they're gonna drag me into this. Damn it.
Did you look at Joe before you did it?
Not that time. I have done it in the past. It's like, what do you want me to do? It's like, right, fine, boom, done it. Attempted it, but
So what
yeah,
what
like
do you think Joe's reaction is there when the crowd's calling for Foxy to do a flip? What's Joe signaling to you, even though you're not looking at him?
I, I think he's more so like he's gotten a lot more mellower in the last few years, thankfully. The but I think now he's like starting to enjoy it
Mhm,
like more. He's starting to enjoy when like little things happen in spur of the moment. Like
mhm.
if it fits, then if it's what they want, then the stupid saying is like you kind of have to give them what they want. But as much I don't like certain spots, but like again, willing to make a fool of myself for the sake of the show.
You're built out a building there for the rest of the night if you don't do that flip.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
But I've been booed before, so it's nothing new.
yeah.
And the for the likes the dive in Belfast,
Mhm,
that that really came about because no one wanted to take the paddle. That's all it did. Like that was all it was. No one wanted to take the shot from the paddle. So therefore, like they were, all right. How do we get the paddle involved? Then I was like, who's gonna take the shot? I was like, no one wants to. It just so happened that like this was so the day before we had done the School of Irish Wrestling show
mhm,
in Dublin, and during the course of like throughout the show, uh, the four people involved decided they were planning out what's going to happen for tomorrow, but they're still debating. I happened to walk in looking to find out for the match they were doing at the
mhm.
school show, and they're just like, "What Foxy did it? What if I did what? Wait what? Don't know." It's like, "Would you take the paddle?" I was like, "No. Uh, uh why?" Oh, but we need this for the. It's like, fine. Then if you need it, it's like me not thinking. I thought it was for today,
Mhm.
like that day, but no, they meant for tomorrow. So I'm like, oh no. So the whole way up to Belfast, I'm like, oh no, this thing's gonna hurt. And then find out it's the first match. I'm like, oh no. Then I have to like worry about this like for the rest of the day. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna be in pain for this if he catches me wrong. Then they decide, what if he did a dive? Then like as revenge. It's like, okay, fine, I'll do it. So, but yeah, it's fun. I'm happy to do it, and yeah, I'll protest. Uh, very, there's very minimal protest from me.
And
Gonna,
whose idea was the dive?
I think it was Paddy. I think I could be wrong. It could have been Nikki as well.
Mhm.
So.
So then, at what point does that go to Joe?
That didn't.
Okay.
That was
I think that says it all. So Joe didn't know that you were diving there.
no.
That's
They knew
amazing.
about. He knew about the paddle.
Yeah.
He knew about the paddle, but not the dive.
I just wish I had known that at the time, and I could look at Joe and see Joe's reaction.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
That like it was funny for us, but at the same time, for me, I have to deal with them afterwards. Whereas they just get a little bit of a bollocking. Whereas I have to actually like, oh come on, pal, leave me alone, leave me alone. I'm doing the rest of the show. Will you stop?
I'd say he
But
perked up a bit when he seen the reaction on
yeah,
social media because like you went viral over the next like 2 3 days.
he likes things like that. Like he's glad that like I get involved in bits, don't I?
Hmm.
But obviously, like him running shows, he wants it done a certain way, and at the end of the day, if he's paying you, he should get what he wants
Yeah.
to the best of your ability, and that's what I try to do every show.
Cool. So before we get into the likes of fan questions and stuff, the last thing that I want to ask you is what's your aspirations? So what do you want to do? Where do you want to go with your career?
So, as we touched on it earlier, I'd like to work. I'd like to work more in the UK. I'd like to. I would like to work different promotions, as many as I can. Work with different people. Hopefully, get better. I would love to work different countries other than the UK and Europe, whether it be like Japan, Mexico, America, Germany, or uh, Australia, different countries. I would love to work as many as I can. Uh, if I become good enough, maybe eventually a tryout and work uh, for the likes of it. I would love to be in the likes of a WWE or an AEW or otherwise.
Hmm.
For a wrestler, it's extremely difficult to get yourself booked anywhere outside your country.
Hmm.
But for a referee, it's like 10 times that in terms of trying to get booked. I mean, I was fortunate enough with doing Breed in the past, like last year, for the 2 shows. But other than that, nowhere was really kind of willing to import a referee as opposed to importing a wrestler. So if I can work, if I can be fortunate enough to work different places, then I'd be very happy. But the main goal is to get better, hopefully make a full-time living out of it, and just support my family.
Excellent. So, gun to the head, your number one goal, your number one company, where do you want to go? If it's on a silver platter for you, right now, you can go and you can ref anywhere in the world for any company. Who is it?
WWE, shoot for the top. Uh,
I just wasn't sure with the obviously with the New Japan and with AEW coming up as well. It opens a lot more doors for you, and like the good thing is that you probably don't have to choose, and hopefully all those doors open up for you. And but yeah, but I just wanted to kind of gauge your interest on it then as well.
Anywhere, anywhere.
Yeah.
I'll work anywhere.
So as I said, I have a few fan questions.
Okay.
Which I actually had to knock a few back because there were so many. And as I spoke to you about, I didn't even check today because there was just too many, and I have so many here, of people that want to actually ask you stuff. As I said on Twitter, I could probably make a 10 episode series out of this, and probably still wouldn't cover everything, but
Mm.
and it was an absolute nightmare for me to have to like cut down even what we just spoke about, but now it is fan questions as well, and there's so much that I'd love to talk to you about, and hopefully we do get the chance further down the road to come back and do that. But for now, I have a select few that I picked out. So first up is a Mr. Terry Thatcher, and I think you've seen a couple of these already. So
Yes.
Terry wants to know what possessed you to get dreadlocks and why did you decide to keep them for several weeks?
So for anyone that doesn't know, in 2010 I went on holiday to Portugal. And as you do on holiday, you either get a tattoo or you get other stuff, or you do something that you wouldn't normally do at home. So for some reason I decided to get big long dreads, and yeah, I wore them back home, wore them for a show the next day, and wore them for several weeks after, even to the local pub as well.
Is
to the
that
chagrin to the chagrin of like Thatcher and a few of our friends.
is that show recorded? Is that anywhere that we could find it?
I don't know if I know it was recorded, but I don't know if it's available online.
Okay, if
Whoever has the
anyone
footage,
if anyone's watching this or listening to this and has a picture, I'd appreciate a tweet with that picture because it's something that I'd love to see. Um, so Rian Nocta then asks, why has the green hair not reared its head again?
because I'm not allowed to. That's why.
Who's not letting
Because
you?
Joe. I'd said it to him. It's like, you want to be careful. I'll be testing the limits of like what you're willing to let me away with. It's like, how quickly can you get another referee over here? Like, but yeah, like it's just, for a referee, you have to look professional. I mean, like, yes, I have a couple tattoos on my arms, but like, fortunately enough, like Joe lets me away with them. But the green hair was like the no. Dyed hair isn't a no. So
So we touched on this a little bit earlier on, but Conlon O'Reilly asks, do you have any stories from DCW?
DCW, yeah, like, for a lot of the stuff that like DCW was like, it deserved a lot of the flack that I got, but it did allow the opportunity for some that worked there to be creative, in the sense that, like, all right, you have a character. Like, for me, I had a character named Space Cadet, and it was just given to me when I was in Irish Whip. But DCW allowed me the chance to flesh out the character, come up with ideas for promos, or how I did things in the ring, or how I do my entrance. Um, but it's it was also fun because, now I enjoyed it. Like, depending on who you ask, they might have enjoyed it or hated it. But I enjoyed it, my time with DCW, because I got to work with a young Pete Dunne, like Pete and Damien Dunn, and as well as Ryan Smile at the tail end. But it's, yeah, like, I mainly, like, I just enjoyed, like, I enjoyed the good things about it. I didn't want to get involved in the bad as much as I tried, but I think that kind of pulled everyone in. I don't know, Conlon. I don't have many like good stories for you, unfortunately. Sorry, Conlon.
So our next one then is from Damien Craig, and he asks, what is the best bump you've ever taken? So
Uh,
from what I've seen, and the little bit of research that I did, so you've taken some crackers, so like the Melter driver from the Young Bucks. You were thrown off the stage by War Machine at WrestleRama. You got a pedigree from Pete Dunne. Like, they're huge. Like, for like,
yeah.
that's like a stunner off Austin. Like, it's so.
But
What would you say is your favorite or your the best bump that you've ever taken?
so for import wise, like, the the one that I really liked because of the reaction it got was the John Woo from Walter, and it just, because of the reaction that I got, that would be my favorite. It hurt, but like, it got the reaction that was needed. Uh, but for local talent, I had uh, I got dragged into a 6-man tag match for NLW last year, and I was against Liam Royal, And for anyone that knows Liam Royal, he's a big Jack dude. Love him. This is when he was only starting to really break out onto the scene, like in a while. And he gave me his power bomb. But it was nice to know that I could actually do it and still kind of dip my toe back in. So it was good for me.
Take it like a champ, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Had
Excellent.
to.
So Tommy Flynn, who Tommy has a couple of questions on this. He's great with his questions. This is a big one, and this is one that everyone wants to know. Will Joe ever give you your match with Star?
No. It's simple answer, no.
So
You
Star wants it.
for anyone that like has seen, like, I chanced my arm recently on Twitter when OTT did the ask, like, the Q&A,
Mhm.
and you got your answer right there and then. So it was a never, 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 never. So there you go.
Do you think he'll ever give you a match? A
No,
match? No.
no, no, not a chance.
Tag match? Battle
Nope,
royale? Nothing.
nope, nothing.
Do you think
Not a chance.
is it cause you're too valuable?
He's no one else at the moment. It'd be different if we had a second ref, then maybe we could get away with.
Mhm.
But at the moment, and for next while, not a chance.
So that's something that we kind of never touched on. I'd like to touch on it now. So as you were saying that you think there's only probably like 4 refs in Ireland. How can other people get into being a ref?
Try so the handy thing for me, like, for starting, was that I learned to be a wrestler first,
Mhm.
and then I transitioned. Like, my biggest asset was that I was a master wrestler, and I could ref the second or first half of a show. So therefore, I was still learning both at the same time. But my biggest asset for learning to be a ref came by doing as many shows as possible for Wrestling.ie. And Wrestling.ie is, like, invaluable in terms of experience. It made me come along leaps and bounds. So get to .ie, tell them you want to be a ref. This is what I want to do, and do it as much as you can, as do as many shows as possible, as often as you can.
So, Chloe Lynch then asks, I'm not sure if we kind of covered this. What was your favorite match to ref? So we spoke about your biggest matches, but what was your favorite match then?
I think I had said it on another interview. It was OTT had done a show at the Spiegel tent in Wexford, I think it was, and the main event was Charlie Sterling and Sean Max Guinness versus Jordan Devlin and Paddy Moore. And that, like, still stands out as my favorite match. Not because, like, of a big storyline, but because this is one of the rare opportunities where it's not recorded. OTT doesn't record these shows,
Mm-hmm.
and they should, because they're so much fun. Because this allows us to actually, like, have a bit more fun, a little bit take the piss, but at the same time, it's like it's a proper kid show.
Yeah.
And the whole duration of the match, we're all trying to pop each other. It's hilarious, to the point where mid brawl, in the middle of the crowd, Charlie Sterling decides to do a random jumping spin kick, like, not like to hit anyone, just to do it to, like, have fun. Like, it's so random that, like, Jordan breaks, like, right in front of him with a big ha, and then back to serious face. But it's hilarious. So yeah. But apart from that, I've had, like, an unbelievable time, like, refereeing for NLW in Nace, because, again, it's very similar because they're not recorded, and it is a kid show. But for the boys, it's a show we want to do because we want to have fun as well. It's a chance for us to have fun.
Yeah.
Paddy Moore is absolutely brilliant on these. Him and Be Cool, they just they stand out by a mile in terms of like entertainment value.
So something
Like
that I noticed, I've only been to one NLW show, which was the last one.
yes,
And something that I noticed was that obviously the setup is different. So anyone who's never seen an NLW show in the Mo Theatre, it's the ring is down the front, and then there's one big bank of seats, and it's on like a theatre stage. So there's a stage left and a stage right, and you start doing it a lot, maybe in the second match, was you kept looking off to the side of the stage, which is where everyone else obviously is while stuff is going on in the ring. So obviously there's a lot of stuff going on back there that people are probably trying to pop you guys while you are in the ring.
yeah.
Um Now like I'd love to be down there to see what's actually going on, but like from my perspective I could see what was going on, but I couldn't see what they were doing or anything. But I'm presuming that there was some shenanigans going on back there
Again,
to
as
try to break
again
you
as
guys.
I said, it's the best opportunity for like all of us to just have fun.
Mhm.
And anytime we can, we will. We'll just try and take the piss. So as I said, like Paddy Moore is fantastic guy. Be Cool is fantastic guy. Justy is unbelievable at it of making the most random stuff hilarious. Like to not only like the crowd, like where they're looking like that's very strange. To like the boys thinking like, that's very strange, but it's hilarious that he keeps doing it. So yeah, like love it, absolutely love it.
So, where am I? Jer Lynch then asks, if you could pick one OTT wrestler that you could wrestle, who would it be? So, if Joe did give you a match and let you choose your opponent,
I know everyone wants me to go for like the likes of Star, but me, I kind of like I kind of want to split it like for like in terms of generation. So like in terms of new crop like that's currently around, uh Sky Davis. I would love to wrestle him because he's so talented. The I'd like I'd like to wrestle. I basically like to wrestle anyone, anyone and everyone because they're all so goddamn talented. Like they're so good. Like you have like Stephen Carvel up north, who like I would absolutely love to wrestle. Like you have Matt Schuyler down in Cork,
Mhm.
the grey high flyer. I think he's gonna be really good. Uh, for Dublin based, obviously you have Sky Davis, yeah, like Callum Black. Uh, to the I would love to wrestle Thatcher one more time. Um, with the if you're going back further, obviously everyone wants to work with Paddy. Everyone wants to work with Paddy. I'd love to work Maxer. Love to work Joe again. And, I I'd love to work Justy as well. I think that'd be hilarious. We've always messed about that. It's like I think it'd be great to have a match, like just me and you, and just be the laziest wrestlers ever, and just have fun with it.
Yeah,
But yeah, like anyone and everyone. If I could, like if I was in a mixed tag capacity, I'd love to work with the girls as well
hmm,
because they're so talented. Like
yeah,
they've come on leaps and bounds. Like and for entertainment value as well, depending on who it is. Jesus, yeah, anyone and everyone.
cool.
Uh,
We're absolutely spoiled, like, and you are spoiled for choice with that question as well.
yeah, it's
Um,
tough.
so Tommy then asks again. I think this was from. I think it was from Scrapper Mania 5. Was Chris Sharp over for Scrapper 5?
Yes.
Yeah, it was Scrapper 5 then. We were debating on this the other day. So what did you think of the You're Not Foxy chance to Chris?
Uh, to Chris. I love having Chris over. Like I had no issues with the chant when Joe was over, but like I loved having Chris over because Chris was very very open and he's so friendly.
Mhm.
Like it's so nice and so helpful. Like he's helped me tremendously. Joel was a different thing. He came over with a couple of boys and he got the ref a couple of matches there, but wasn't really much interaction
Mhm.
while he was over, which is a shame because I would have liked him to actually have a bit more interaction.
Mhm.
But I didn't mind. I thought it was hilarious with the chant. I did, but unfortunately, sooner or later it has to happen. Then we're gonna have to have like other refs.
Yeah, absolutely. What did Chris think of it? Was Chris okay with it? Like,
Yeah, he was
yeah,
fine. He
that's
he
fine.
knew what he was getting into.
Excellent.
Joel had told him.
I just wouldn't want them to be put off, like, by
Yeah,
like coming back around, like, cause like, yeah, like Chris Sharp is deadly, but yeah, he's not Foxy. So the last thing from Tommy then is he wants to know how you feel the day after a show. Now I don't know what he's trying to get at by that. Whether it's a unwinding thing or if you're tired or if you're sore or whatever. But
wrecked. Just tired. That's all. Tired. Because I'm wrecked after a show,
mhm.
and if I'm lucky enough, I can sleep in the next morning. But if not, I'm up early. Then yeah, I'm just wrecked. Then Tommy, that's a silly question to ask me. You see that I'm wrecked at the end of a show. Imagine how I am the next morning if I don't get sleep.
So Emmett Crotty then asks, how do you control your bladder for so long out there?
Years of practice. Go to the toilet before the show starts. That's a big thing.
Um, did you ever get into a situation where you were like, oh, I don't know if I can hold this?
Once, but fortunately, we the intermission was the neck after the match, so we were in the last match before intermission when that happened. So that was the only instant. No premature release, as they say. So
I presume you didn't have to take a bump in that match.
thank God, thank God I didn't. Otherwise, it would have happened.
So the last question then is from me, and I noticed this watching back. Um, what do the Japanese guys have against you? Anytime we're seeing you in there with one of the Japanese guys, they seem to want to kill you. Um, I did
Yeah,
say about Naito and Suzuki at the fourth anniversary show, um, but then it must be cool to kind of have that interaction in a ring, but then terrifying as well, I presume. But like probably afterwards, providing no one takes liberties, probably a
uh,
pretty cool interaction. Like,
yeah, like I don't get it. It just so happens that the majority of people that have kind of like gotten in my face tend to be like the Japanese guys. But other than that, like I've had no issues really with the Japanese like people, apart from like the Naito incident.
yeah,
But uh, Minoru Suzuki, complete professional. Intimidating, but complete professional. Uh, like Kushida, absolute gent. Tomohiro Ishii, fantastic to work with. So easy to work with. Uh, Jushin Liger, would like him to interact with him a little more,
mhm,
but I know his English is a little limited.
mhm.
Uh, but I've had no issues really. Like, don't know, I've loved it. I don't get it. Maybe it's just their personality when they're out there,
Do you reckon
or
they're wising each other up before they come in?
maybe they're probably telling
Um,
each other. It's like, here, this would be funny if you did this to the ref. Don't know, like throw him off.
like the Suzuki one, if Suzuki's getting up in my face, like I'm cacking myself. Like that'd have to be terrifying. But then, as I said, afterwards, when the match is over, you're kind of like, that was amazing. So what I do to finish off these shows, for anyone who watches, I finish with my 22 quickfire questions.
Okay.
So they're wrestling related. They are about the boys and girls in the locker room as well. Just a few generic questions. If you want to elaborate on them, work away. If you want to give one word answers, that's perfectly fine. Um, but we'll just get cracking. So, question one: who is your favorite wrestler?
Jericho.
Show. Do you have a favorite wrestling theme song?
Can't go wrong with the Hardy's music.
What is your favorite match that you have been involved in? So not even just as a ref, but as a performer as well. Any match that you've been involved in.
Favorite match was one of my last matches. It was with Joker Bray. It was my favorite because it was the easiest I ever felt, the most comfortable I've ever felt as a wrestler. So that'd be my favorite.
Um, do you have a favorite match that you haven't been involved in, even worldwide?
Worldwide. Ooh, uh, just a ladder match in general. I always wanted to try one. At least try it. You want to try it.
Was there any matches that may have happened in OTT that you didn't get to ref, but you were envious that someone else was refing?
Oh, that someone. Wow, someone got to wrestle, or
No, someone got to ref
oh
that you weren't refing in the ring at the time.
no, no, I'm not envious because it's one of those things that it needs to happen every once in a while.
Mm.
Like someone has to come in and help me out
Presume you're happy for the break as well.
a little bit. Don't know what to do with myself backstage. The boys will tell you that.
So have you had any injuries?
Uh, Fortunately enough, no, nothing major. Uh, I've had a bad ankle for years, but like that's for a different reason. Not wrestling related. No,
Cool.
not wrestling related.
So in your opinion then, who do you think has the best mic skills in OTT?
Hey, that's a tough one.
It is.
Uh, Star's fantastic at what he does on the mic. Just you can't fault him on that. He's very good at it and making you believe it. For Irish people, uh, it's always fun to see Justine be cool on the mic. Them too, like they just love the mic. That's all. You just give them the mic and that's it. Let them go. But yeah,
It's always the same names cropping up, by the way.
yeah.
It's always the same names. So one person then from the Irish scene that you would put your house on that's gonna go straight to the top. So if you had to pick one person, now there is loads of them. There's there's probably too many to count that you could put your money on. But if you had to pick one, who's your brightest shining light?
If he keeps the way he's doing, where he's been going, like the last couple of years, then he's gonna do so well. Like Sky Davis. Sky Davis is gonna go unbelievably far in wrestling if he keeps the way he's going. He's constantly improving, and it he's still so young. Like he's 19, and look at what he's done already. So imagine like in give a 25-year-old like Sky Davis. Imagine what that's gonna be like. So that's scary.
Yeah, he absolutely is a different breed. And the majority are saying Scotty. There have been a couple of others, but
Mm.
majority of people have said Scotty. Um, do you have a guilty pleasure favorite wrestler?
Uh, yeah, Justy. Justy is my guilty pleasure. I love him.
Just he absolutely is a guilty pleasure. Um, depending on what he's saying on social media at the time and how people are taking to him as well. So do you have any merch?
Uh, I've some. have some promo picks that can be personalized. They're €10 for a personalized photo, or you can spend 15 and get sticker and badge set as well with the personalized photo.
And where can we
So
get
that just message me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. Find me on social media.
There
Just
you go.
message me.
Social media below is picture for people who are watching on YouTube. So from your time as a wrestler, who have you had the best chemistry in the ring with?
Thatcher would be definitely one of them. And Joe Bray, as I said, was the easiest match I've ever been in. Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne was actually the easiest I've ever been in the ring with as well. Just it yeah, it was just easy with those lads. I've never been more comfortable with anyone.
So do you prefer to work as a singles or a tag?
Both. I like both. So I don't have a preference. Yeah, both would be my way. I'm happy enough either way.
Just give Foxy a match, Joker Bray. Heard her.
Keep
So
those options open.
so what are you watching on TV? I have during lockdown, but I'm gonna keep asking this after lockdown as well. So what are you watching during lockdown?
So I just finished the Last Dance
Hmm.
on Netflix. Really enjoyed that. I'm what am I currently watching? Rust Valley on Netflix. It seems to be just one of those shows that I like. I like watching, especially if I'm having dinner. It's just easy to
An
watch it
easy
while you're
watch.
eating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I get you. So this one, this is a one word answer. I only want one word to describe Joker Bray.
fair.
That's a new one. So who would you say then? This is looking into the dressing room then. So who would you say is the loudest in the dressing room?
Session Ma.
I did have that as most annoying, but I think most annoying doesn't come across well because like
Well
it's
then,
not
sorry, Justy.
just the most annoying. See, some people don't want to say, "Oh, this person annoys me," because like
No,
yeah,
you said the loudest. You
the
said the
loudest,
loudest.
yeah, loudest. Session Bot,
Loudest Justy.
loudest is Justy.
Session Ma and Justy. They're very close.
So who would you say has the best ring gear?
Slickest looking ring gear. That's tough because a lot of them have really, really cool gear.
Hmm.
That's a tough one. I can't actually answer that one.
That's fine. The standout on that one is usually I think Scotty has came up a couple of times. That he has some slick gear, and did Haskins come up once? I think Haskins might have come up, and
Always
And
tights.
Debbie as well. Because she yeah, she's about 20 wardrobe changes as well. So if you had to travel and you had to stay overnight, who would you think would be the best to room with?
Who's always fun to hang with? Yeah, that's a tricky one because there's a lot of people that are actually like really cool to hang out with. I'm not gonna say Thatcher. It's too easy. But Butch is actually really cool to hang out with. Because he has a strange like knowledge when it comes to certain topics. It's like he'll give you tidbits that you'd never knew or didn't want to know, or like insanely detailed kind of like information that like, how do you know this stuff? Like, so yeah, he'd be cool enough like that I'd be happy with.
So he's a standard pub quiz partner.
Yeah.
So if there was someone that you potentially wouldn't like to room with, is there anyone on that list?
That's digging me into a hole there. No, I'm not gonna
It's
answer
not
that one.
really in a nice way. Like I'll give you an example. So Frankie said Aiden because Aiden just goes around punching people in the throats, and he'd be afraid that Aiden was punching him in the throat in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
No, it's fine.
I,
If you don't want to answer, that's completely fine as well, though.
I'd be afraid like Aiden. I don't know. He'd probably smell or something. I don't know. So
So obviously you've travelled the roads with a few people, as you said. You travelled all over the country with wrestling.ie. I'm presuming you didn't do it on your own.
no.
You usually carpool. So music then, who has the best taste in music?
Danny Cross.
He has some good tunes.
Hmm.
Worst taste in music?
Paul Tracy.
Any examples?
I dare not say.
So who would you say then has the best dress sense?
Maybe Cartel.
Cracking. Worst dress sense?
Me.
You actually surprisingly haven't popped up from anybody else. And the last question: who is the longest in the shower?
I don't know. I'm not there when they're in the shower, so thankfully.
I suppose, yeah, you're probably still in the ring. Okay, so that's all my questions, and that's pretty much everything that I have here for today. The last thing I want to say is just again a big, huge thank you for giving up your valuable time to come on and talk to me here today. As I said, I left so much out today that I could have put in, and I could probably be here for about 10 hours talking to you about everything that you've done in the business and all the stuff that I'd like to pick your brain about and know about as well. But again, we'll leave that for another day. But again, thank you very much for coming on, and I really do appreciate your time.
That's no problem at all. I was happy to do it. We all need something to do in this lockdown period.
Absolutely. So just for everybody watching and listening, if you could just head over to social media, follow Foxy on Twitter at FoxNiall123, on Instagram at FoxNiall, and again, hit up his Facebook page, facebook.com/FoxyBros.retailer. Check out his stuff. It's phenomenal. The pictures that he's making are brilliant. He does commissions. Hit him up there. From me, head over to Twitter and Instagram at the same handle. It's at KOOK_pod. And if you're listening to this, head over to YouTube, kicking out Kayfabe. Hit the like and subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. But yeah, that's pretty much all we have here for today. Foxy, again, thank you very much for coming on. I really do appreciate your time, and hopefully I get to see you very soon in person, and we get back to the Ringside Club or Waterford or wherever else we're going to be going.
Hopefully.
OTT or NLW or the school or wherever else that we see you, because you work everywhere.
When wrestling comes back. When
Yeah.
wrestling comes back.
So thanks everyone for listening, and Foxy, thanks again, and I'll see you the next time.
Bye.